Hey guys, 50s Kid here. Welcome back to another fun-filled video on the BMW E46. Today's video is all about motor mounts. Alrighty guys, I wanted to show you what the symptom is and why you would even want to mess with your motor mounts. I'm just going to start the car here. Put the transmission in gear. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this on the video or not, but there's vibration in the steering wheel when the car is idling. And you know, that's not how the car was when, you know, it was brand new. That's not how any car should be, basically. And the reason a car vibrates like this is almost always because the motor mounts have deteriorated. Motor mounts are made of rubber, and rubber gets hard and it cracks and it deteriorates over time. Any car after about 10 years, it's really time to change them. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's actually pretty easy. You want to jack your car up right underneath that plate right there. Always jack your car up and put the jack stand right underneath the rubber jack point. And this is the rear jacking point on the vehicle. It's that bracket right underneath the differential. By the way, when you see that your jack stands say 2 tons on them, if you have 2-ton jack stands, they mean 2 tons per pair. Now, you got to remove the bottom structural support plate. There are 4 screws in the front, 4 bolts in the front, 4 on the back. They're 16 millimeter, and I'm going to use some air power. By the way, I want to point something out. I know that my bottom plate looks pretty mangled here, but the truth of the matter is this is the area that rests up against the places where it bolts in, and all that really matters is that that area is intact. It still has its structural rigidity. I mean, I'm not worried about it. So this is normally bulged out right here, and you know, I guess they intended that as the jack point. You know, why else have a bulge there? And yeah, they just collapse over time. So yeah, that's just one example of BMW's terrific parts. The problem is that you cannot get the motor mounts out just from underneath the car. You actually need to remove a bolt from the top, and that's that bolt right there. Underneath it is the motor mount. This is on the passenger side of the vehicle, the right side. You can see that I've got access on this side to get that bolt out. That's not a problem. But on the driver's side, we have something in our way. We've got the upper intake boot in our way. And yeah, to try to see below it is really not possible. Really what needs to happen is the airbox and the upper intake boot need to come out in order for us to have access to get that bolt out. And I have covered this in another video, and I will link to that video in the description so that you can see the procedure on how to remove these things. But I'm going to skip that in this video just to make it shorter. As you see, got the airbox out, got the upper intake boot off, and now we can definitely see the lower engine mount, and we can see the bolt. And because I have a little universal joint for my socket set, I know that I can get that bolt loose. I actually believe that you're gonna need one of those universal joints any way you slice it, because at the angle that bolt is going up, it you know, if all you had were just a regular socket set with extensions, you would have to go kind of through the intake manifold, or you'd actually have to take the intake manifold off, maybe, possibly, if you wanted to use like a socket set with extensions. Or you can just kind of get down in there with a socket with just a little extension, but you don't really have much room. As you can see, I've got my universal joint here. It's a 16 millimeter bolt, by the way, and I got some long extensions on the back of it. I'm gonna snake that down right onto the bolt, and just that simple. Why mess around, man? All right, and for the passenger side one, same deal, same setup. just that easy, only now I gotta climb under the car to find where that nut went. As you see, the lower suspension arm is in the way of getting at that bolt, getting straight on that bolt. I'm not sure if you can tell the angle right, but you couldn't get straight on it. So once again, I'm going to use my universal joint. It's still a 16, and I'm going to slip up through there just like that, and that's how I'm going to do it. There you go. A little easier for you to see the passenger side. Wait, we went through here, didn't we? Yes, we did. Get on there and got my floor jack positioned underneath the engine oil pan. I'm gonna lift the engine this way. I'm kind of looking around on the engine, seeing what's contacting what and where, and all right, got it out. Yeah, it looks how it looks. Looks like it needs to be changed. We're gonna change it. The side with the locating pin goes down. The locating pin goes on the front, in the front hole. It feels like the engine needs to go up just slightly more. I felt that the locating pin dropped into the hole that it was supposed to go into, and I can feel that the stud is basically hovering over the member that slips down onto it. So I'm actually going to jump to the other side. Hopefully we can get it up high enough. I just want to take note of where that plate is, directed towards the catalytic converters, which makes sense. And it doesn't look like I've got it up high enough. I'm gonna let it back down here because I'm actually lifting the whole car up at this point, which is not so good. Okay, so the problem I'm having is that the right side of the engine, the passenger side of the engine, is it's not coming up high. It seems like it's heavier on this side. And actually what I think is happening is that my garage really isn't level, and I think I'm actually higher on this side. So I basically got the car, instead of flat and level like this, I've got it tilted to the side. Anyway, my plan B is either genius or madness, depending on your point of view. And this is plan B. Yeah, ratcheting tie down, hooked to the engine lift point, and then just connect it to the tire, to the wheel. I'm actually okay with that. This is not really much weight. All we're really doing is kind of pulling the engine this way just a little. So I'm okay with this. I'm gonna try it. We're gonna see how well it works, and this is gonna be interesting. All right, here we go. Ooh, you know what? It looks like this mount is a lot worse than I thought it was. Check that out. Yeah. Ooh, and that's the oil that's either the oil that it's filled with, or that's engine oil. Yeah, I actually had a leaking valve cover when I bought the car. It had been leaking oil for quite some time, and a lot of it had pooled up on top of the mount. So I'm not surprised to find this. You know, that oil has deteriorated the rubber pretty significantly, and so this is what happens when you don't take care of your engine. If the locating pin on the bottom is facing forward towards the front of the engine like it should, looks like the locating pin on the top of the shield should face forward, should go to the forwardmost hole on the engine mount as well. There we go. The pin is down. Yeah. And we're home. So we are here at the back of the transmission, and what needs to happen is this lower plate needs to come out, and it's attached to the frame of the car by 4 bolts, 2 here and 2 in here, and it's also screwed into the 2 mounts here and here. Now the back one is the problem. These are 13 millimeters, and I'm just going to use the old 2 wrenches hooked together method to give myself some extra leverage, because I don't have a long handled 13, unfortunately. And yeah, it looks like that's the wrong way, but here. Okay, hopefully this works. Ooh, and yeah, that worked easily. Okay. 1 bolt loose. Now I'm going to move my floor jack into place underneath the transmission. Put some tension on the transmission. Just, I can see it lifting slightly because the mounts in the back are pretty deteriorated. There's a washer and a nut. Oh, there we go. And yeah, look at that. Those mounts were just completely broken. So, good thing we're changing them. The new mounts have these locating pins, so this is the side that goes down and the locating pins go up. And it looks like it's going to be a little easier for me to get those bolts off the top of them because I got nice access. See, now that I think about it, it might actually be more difficult for me to remove these the way they are. I'm trying to figure out which way to go. Yeah, see, the trick here is going to be, how do I get the leverage on that sucker? I'll tell you what, this might be a situation where you need like a crow's foot. And it looks like, it feels like these would just slot out the back of the transmission. It feels like these are hooks that these are on. So perhaps I can actually pry these off the back. Maybe. Well, it's time to get creative. And first of all, I'm going to try to hit those nuts with some PB Blaster. Now, here is idea number 1. I'm actually still totally confused about which way I should be going here too. So if I get a good grip on it, I gotta go this way. Not really. So attempt number 2 to get creative, which I don't think will work, but okay, maybe I can go this way. Yeesh, feels like I'm bending my wrench more than anything. I decided to quit screwing around. So I went out and I got a set of Crowfoot flare nut wrenches, which is actually nice. And I've got a little extension here, and I've got a breaker bar. And this, I think, is going to give me the leverage I need to get these bolts off. Oh man, it might not be long enough to reach back on there. That's gonna suck. Yeah, I'm afraid that's the case. That's defeat right there. Yeah, that to me is defeat for the night. So I just realized something. With a 13mm wrench, a 1/2 inch breaker bar just happens to fit into a 13mm wrench. And that might give me the leverage I need. Actually, that definitely will. If I don't break the wrench, right? Look at that. That turned out to be so easy. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's coming free. Oh yeah, definitely free. Oh, I'm so happy. You have no idea. I'm probably going to cut this into, 60 seconds, but in reality, I think I've probably spent like 3 hours on this. Wow. Yeah. So I was right. It was a little fork, and you just need to get the bolt a little free, and it'll come off. And you heard that tip here from me. A 13mm is about the same as a 1/2 inch. Okay, as you can see, I've moved the drive shaft so that bolt is in the middle, and I've got a little more access there. So clockwise, that way. Okay, I think I bumped you. Oh yeah. One more. Yeah, okay. Finally, the little key goes in the back, and you can thread the nut on, get it almost all the way there. Yeah. You'll notice there's a little slot on the bottom one, and that slot is over here. It's basically on the right side. So you're supposed to torque these to 16 foot-pounds, and there's no way to torque the top ones. So we're just going to do them really tight, counterclockwise. And actually, I've been thinking about it, and if you really do want to torque these top ones, you can stick your 1/2 inch torque wrench in there, and that should work. But I don't care. Well, frick. The battery on the camera died while I was putting the plate back on there, so you didn't get to see me do that. You didn't get to see me mistakenly pinch this heat shielding between the frame and the frame of the car the first time, and then have to take it off and do it again. So make sure when you do this, you peel this heat shielding down, but then push it back up so it doesn't rattle against the exhaust. Torque the bolts down to, technically it's 15.5 foot-pounds. The same goes for the ones on the studs on the mount, on the transmission mounts. And I finally realized, I didn't even realize this before, but you can go straight up through the two exhaust pipes and actually get on that stud right there. So that was never an issue, as much of an issue as I thought it was. I never needed to use the wrench to get it off in the first place. Anyway, the only thing you really need the universal joint for is this one right here, because the exhaust is in the way on that one. And that's it. By the way, when you put the aluminum skid plate back on, tighten these bolts down to 44 foot-pounds. Tighten the engine mounting bolts down to 33 foot-pounds on the bottom and the top. Never give up, never surrender. Hey, if you like this video, please click like and subscribe if you want to see some more. Thanks for watching.